This is section 5.2, the sum and difference formulas. We're going to start off with the sum and difference formula for cosine. Here we have cosine of u plus v, so we're adding two angle measurements together. If we have this, then we can rewrite it as cosine of u times cosine of v minus sine of u times sine of v. And if it's a minus sign here, this becomes a plus sign. Now, I want you to notice this kind of notation. This is a way of writing both of these at the same time. Here you have cosine of u plus or minus v is equal to cosine of u times cosine of v minus plus. Now, this may be the first time you've seen minus plus. All this is saying is that if this was plus, you use a minus here. If this is minus, you use a plus here. So these two have to have opposite signs. So this is the shorthand notation for that. Okay, so let's find the exact value of each expression here. So I have cosine of 120 degrees minus 45 degrees. I'm going to use this formula here, and this becomes cosine of 120 degrees times cosine of 45 degrees. This is a minus, so this is a plus. Sine of 120 degrees times sine of 45 degrees. Okay, cosine of 120 degrees is negative 1/2. Cosine of 45 degrees is the square root of 2 over 2, plus sine of 120 degrees is the square root of 3 over 2, times sine of 45 degrees is the square root of 2 over 2. Now, if we multiply, we get negative square root 2 over 4 plus square root 6 over 4. So combine these to the square root of 6 minus the square root of 2 over 4, and you have your exact trig value. Notice if you do this subtraction, you get 75. Well, right here, we have cosine of 45 degrees plus 30 degrees. This is also 75 degrees, so I should get the same answer. So we're going to use our addition formula now to show that. This will be cosine of 45 degrees times cosine of 30 degrees minus sine of 45 degrees times sine of 30 degrees. Cosine of 45 degrees is the square root of 2 over 2. Cosine of 30 degrees is square root 3 over 2. Minus sine of 45 degrees is square root 2 over 2. And sine of 30 degrees is 1/2. Multiply, you get the square root of 6 over 4 minus the square root of 2 over 4. So we do get the same answer when we combine into one fraction. Okay, let's look at cosine of pi over 6 minus pi over 4. Using the subtraction formula, we have cosine of pi over 6 times cosine of pi over 4 plus sine of pi over 6 sine of pi over 4. Now, cosine of pi over 6 is square root 3 over 2. Cosine of pi over 4 is square root 2 over 2. Plus sine of pi over 6 is 1/2. Sine of pi over 4 is square root 2 over 2. So this is the square root of 6 over 4 plus the square root of 2 over 4. So combine into one fraction, and you get square root 6 plus square root 2 over 4. Okay, so now let's use these properties to find cosine of 105 degrees. Now, we're not given the breakdown of this, but we want to rewrite this in terms of angles that we know. And if we're talking about degrees, generally we're talking about 30, 45, or 60. Anything else can be built up from those. And if you have a 5 on the end, it's safe to say that you're going to use a 45 or a 135, 225, so on. Okay? Now, 105 is 60 plus 45. And I've chosen to write it as an addition problem, but we probably could have found a way to write it as a subtraction problem, and we would have gotten the same answer. And it really does not matter which of these two angles you put first. Addition is commutative. So we would have cosine of 60 degrees, cosine of 45 degrees, minus sine of 60 degrees, sine of 45 degrees. And cosine of 60 is 1/2. Cosine of 45, square root 2 over 2, minus square root 3 over 2 times square root 2 over 2. So we have 2 square root 4 minus square root 6 over 4. So square root 2 minus square root 6 over 4. Okay, so let's do the same thing, but with a radian measure. If we want to find cosine of 7 pi over 12, I need to rewrite this fraction in terms of two angles that we know. And when your common denominator is a 12, that tells you for sure that you're going to have a pi over 4 in there. So it's pi over 4 plus something. And if you're not sure, you can use your calculator and do 7/12 minus 1/4, because the pi is like a common, is a like term, and you get 1/3. So pi over 4 plus pi over 3 will give me 7 pi over 12. I now apply the addition formula to get cosine of pi over 4 times cosine of pi over 3 minus sine of pi over 4 sine of pi over 3. Cosine of pi over 4 is square root 2 over 2. Cosine pi over 3 is 1/2 minus square root 2 over 2 times square root 3 over 2. So we have square root 2 over 4 minus square root 6 over 4. So we end up with the same answer we did previously. Okay, and just because of the angles that we do know, you're going to end up with square roots of 2, square roots of 3, square roots of 6 in a lot of these problems.